TGIF, Warriors. We made it. How are you? Mike, Steve, Blake, how you doing, buddy? Ingmar, Kman, how you, Bran? Jean-Francois Boucher, Sultans of Swing. Okay. All right. So Peter was here with us yesterday. Hi, AJ. And I just want to show something that I got from him today. And
Is
this
it
is what
an STD?
no, that was many decades ago. Anyway, this is what I want to show with the Fed looking at the Fed coming up. So he did a look at prices May through August. Okay, coffee plus 28, bananas, everything up, window coverings, furniture, major appliances up 8.7, plants, oh God, and people love plants and flowers, 16.5, tools, almost 12, apparel, not bad, only 1.8, jewelry, TVs, electronic equipment. So there's a lot of inflation here, isn't it? Video equipment, 17.7. So
So
if
we
Peter,
should definitely cut
yeah,
50 basis points.
yeah, that's what I mean. So
Yeah,
if Peter has this information, do you think Jerome Powell has it?
absolutely.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about. And you know, the euro hasn't been able to take out this 1780 all week with like a lot of, Aussie made new highs for the move. Pound came very close. I know we have Grega here. Yen's not caving despite what's happening with the yields. So, that the dollar's not caving. I'm actually short euro from this morning, wrong over 80. Okay, if it goes for 1780, then 1980 is the next stop. But we did talk about 1780 before we got there. It hit it to the pip, and we've had 3 days since with all this bearishness in the dollar. And then you look at the Dixie, despite this big break on the inflation data, we're putting in a higher low. Now, earlier in the week when we did this, I thought we could come back down here. And I'm not saying that we can't, but everyone I talk to is still bullish euro. Everybody I talk to is bullish euro. The only one who had tempered bullishness on the euro, who I consider excellent, is Mark Chandler. Okay. So just something to consider, dollar bears. Um, you know, I think that's going to be a big day. Let me ask, throw it out to all of you guys, and then we'll go to Grega's updated wave counts. Um, do you think the market's going to be? Because I know a lot of people are calling for 50, Blake. That's why you brought it up. You're hearing that a lot too. Do you think that the that risk will be disappointed with only a quarter point cut next week?
Yes, I do. I don't think expectations are as high as I would want them because of the CPI data came in a little, firmer, if you will, yesterday than I'd hoped. I'd hoped it would have come in a little weaker, which would have really fueled that fire. However, it's going to be really interesting to hear how many, and especially we're going to get Stephen Moran, right? He's going to be stepping into the Fed at least for this, next couple of meetings till the end of the year, next few meetings. So I'm more interested to see how many dissenters that we get. Because they're obviously he's going to be one that's going to say, "Oh no, I wanted 50." So, I don't know if that's going to be the part that freaks out people where people go, oh, we got a 25 basis point cut, but we could have got a 50, maybe, what's wrong or, I don't know, disappointed. I feel that the market is going to be disappointed regardless what happens on Wednesday. So I don't know,
Okay.
but Kman may have a better opinion here or different, excuse me.
What do you think? Came in, I'm short gold from 49
More.
with a $20 stop. What do you think?
Good morning, everybody.
Good
Morning, Dale.
morning.
Morning, Blake, and etc. etc.
Morning.
Well, first of all, on the euro, I think, as I was saying on the Flow Show as well, and I've been actually trading that way as well. I don't think it's your best dollar short. I can see better currencies which have been performing a bit better. I was rather concentrated on Aussie. I had a bit of Kiwi as well. I have still a bit of both, but a lot less. Kiwi is really very small, and I am also very much reduced short dollar NOK still. So I think those currencies would do better than the euro anyway, because the euro has still a lot of weight around its neck. I can see it go. If it goes, it's gonna go slower. So I can understand as well, to try and short the euro with a stop above 117.80. I can understand that. But the thing is, to me, is that it's more like that euro can hang around at anywhere between 16 and a half, 17 and a half, or 16, 17 and a half, and but the rest of the pairs, the dollar pairs doing putting in a weaker performance. That is kind of where I'm at. I'm by no means bullish euro crosses, for instance. There's only one I can see.
Which currency is a better short with the dollar rally?
With the dollar rally, I think the euro is going to be a decent short.
You said there
Cable
are better ones. Cable better?
Cable could be one, because I think the more we're going to go towards the autumn budget. I know it's still 2 months away, but I think the sterling, and we also saw very anemic growth, actually zero growth, this morning for July in the UK. I think sterling could be also a decent short. And I think that's kind of those I would, if I'm long dollars, that I would rather be long dollars
Short cable.
against those two. As for gold, it's looks to me like, as I said, I mean, the yields are like trying to bottom out just a little bit. That is holding gold back for now, but the overarching risks to global outlook, like geopolitics and even employment here and there. Those reasons remain valid, but it doesn't mean that we can't have a correction, right?
Yeah.
I was like looking at it like I look every day. Your nearest support is 35, 85, 90, but it still will remain extremely bullish for as long as we are above 34 and a half, 3,500 in gold. But it could be that we have to hang around. And you see, what I said for a while about silver, it's silver is now doing the big catch-up move, right? It's
Not
broken above
anymore.
that 78.6. It's broken above those prior highs around 41 and a half, 41.60. It's really it's catching up big time. So and I don't have any gold anymore, but I still have leftovers of my silvers, because I think right now it's probably a better play once more. So jockeying a bit between the one and the other. I understand why you try the short gold, but therefore we should see the dollar come back a little bit more. Now, regarding what Blake was saying about the upcoming FOMC, it's it should be at 25, but I'm not going to completely rule out the 50, because there can be more dissenters that take it over the edge. Because even if you wanted to get rid of Cook, and I don't know why you would have wanted to get rid of Cook, she's a dove. Trump should have been happy that she's there, because she's rather dovish. She will probably vote for a cut as well. So it could still be a limit border decision between a 25 and a 50, regardless the yesterday's relatively sticky CPI. We know that they want to look through CPI for a while and really the employment slowdown, the NFP report, the revisions, then the revisions that we had afterwards are big enough to actually justify a decent cut right now. So that's kind of where I am, but it doesn't mean that the dollar really needs to fall out of bed, because I mean that's what I've been saying as well on the flow shows, etc. Is that even if they cut like 25, they will still be at 4%, where euro, for instance, is only at 2%, right? And the difference between growth between the two blocks is still right now in favor of in favor of the US. So that's why I'm saying that I don't think that if you want to be short dollars, that euro is your best expression to be short dollars against.
To be short dollars. Okay.
No, I mean, if you want to be short dollars, euro is not your best pair. That's my view. Euro,
Okay.
sterling, they are not your best pairs. There are other pairs which are better. Now on the yen, that's a different story, because we had those polls out today, and it looks like we are going to go towards a runoff between Takaichi Abe version 2 and Koizumi, son of a prior prime minister, who has a lot less political depth or experience, but he seems to be a bit of a negotiator, and we know that in Japan they will have to negotiate with third parties because they don't have the majority anymore with the new Komeito. So that's why the yen is remaining on the defensive. That is another one where I think that if the dollar stands up, I think dollar yen can go back to 150. That
Okay.
is, if you look at long dollar, I think that the buying dollar yen on dips is still a pretty decent one.
Okay. And the last thing is
Mm,
we have a throwover on S&Ps, the wedge, just kind of like we had here,
mm,
where it broke down under the wedge and came back down. So
mm,
in S&Ps, how I teach to trade it
mm.
is if you're bearish, you wait for it to get back inside of the formation.
Yeah.
And that's around 65, 68
Mm.
or so. So I know guys looking for, I forgot what Blake's number was, but 66,
All the sixes.
60 or yeah, up
It's
there.
well, it's 6608 is the 161% extension, but
Okay.
you have to just assume we overshoot that. I mean, with the momentum we've got into the end of the week following the CPI. I mean, even with the CPI the way it came out, the stock
Yeah,
market
it was
still
it wasn't
took a
such a
damage.
weak number, was it? 29?
No,
What
no, no, no.
what
It wasn't. I mean, I believe it was the headline number came in 0.1% higher than expected. Let me just confirm
so
that.
why was it
Yeah.
construed bullishly?
Well, I think that I mean, I think people said it probably were thinking it could have been worse, and then you got the
Okay,
weekly
yeah.
unemployment claims, which didn't factor in some of the seasonality, but that came in worse than expected. So everybody just up in arms. Oh, we're going to get 50 basis point cut, and they used it as an excuse to rally, and I
Okay.
truly believe that the market's just going to continue to grind higher up until Wednesday. So.
Okay, so and the last is nat gas had a pullback a little more than 50%, so we'll see.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. And have you seen crude this morning? I don't. Kman, do you know what's driving crude this morning? Is there something that I missed? I just see it like a hockey stick straight up in the air. In crude oil this morning. Um,
can I speak to that?
yeah, yeah. Please.
All right, well, I've been writing about it. Let's face it, world opinion has never been more hostile or negative towards Israel, and Israel has become the pariah state over Iran. Okay, and I don't think, and I think Iran, the war's not over. There's a pause. We're still at war. They're still at war. I think Iran is going to strike first, and the world would cheer it. And I talked about the USO. How much higher is oil today, Blake? Because I'm not sure.
Well, let me go percentage. I'm sorry, I was just looking at somebody
Oh,
just
right.
messaged
It's
me about
it's
something in the
All
chat
right.
5.5 from the lows.
Yeah, it's up 2% on the day. I mean,
Okay. All right. So anyway, I think that the world will cheer it. But if you look at the formation, I don't have a good crude instrument up here. It's not reflecting it. But yeah, I was looking at USO the other day, which is an ETF, and there's just a couple of things I see. I know I'm taking up too much time, but we have time. We could go past the half hour, but anyway, okay, so
You hear
here it
that,
is.
Grega? You're on for extra time today.
All right. So when I look at USO, I see a confirmed high. It's been a little bit more than 61.8. The whole world's bearish. And to me, this looks corrective. I guess if you break down under 72, that's going to measure. But, for as bearish as the world is, for as weak as people say the economies are, we really haven't given up. This, to me, still looks corrective after the first bombings of Iran up here at the peak. So to me, confirmed high. And then if you go like 1.618 of the move that we had here, from here to here, I know it sounds crazy, but could take you to $90 oil. And I keep coming back to, what's going to finally tip us into recession? Well, obviously, it's not going to be anything that the Fed does or weak numbers. The markets keep going. But again, Mark Chandler said every recession, most start with some type of oil shock, and a resumption of the war could be what happens, a resumption of kinetic action. So anyway, that's what I think is happening there. It's not getting better. So why don't we bring you want to get Kman's opinion on it? Am I
No,
still on the air?
I think Blake was asking maybe about shorter term.
I was just talking about
There's
shorter
again
term like today.
there's
Yeah.
again phasing talks about phasing out Russian oil and gas
Oh,
in
that could be
in
okay.
Europe.
Yeah.
And also, if you look at what the OPEC had done, yeah, they are supposedly upping their exports again, right? Or their production or their output was the word I was looking for again. But the thing is, the raise in output is quite incremental and is not really covering all the cuts that they have done before to try and hold it up. So the rest of the market, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation also about very slow demand, but yeah, any shock, anything that would cut some export, we are at really low levels. Could mean that we are in a kind of a bottoming formation, and it's one of the reasons that I'm in Norwegian kroner as well is that I got not the firm view, but the impression we may be bottoming out a bit in oils, and then obviously for Norway is going to have to do with Brent and gas, and as we know that they
Yeah.
export a lot of that to Europe. If Europe phases more out of Russia, that should be beneficial for Norway as well.
Okay. All right. So Gregor Horvat, how are you, buddy?
Yes, I'm here. Hey, I'm
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
It's
So
Friday.
the key question is this: we got to your objectives of 4% on the 10-year. Here's the screen.
Yeah. Mm, mm,
Okay, yeah, it's a prophecy.
yeah.
I'm a prophet. And
Can you see the screen? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So as you said, yes, we hit 4%. We are here now at the lower side of this triangle range. Dollar index specifically did not make a significant move to the downside yet, but as we approach maybe going into the next week, when Fed may finally cut the rates, then of course I would anticipate that we could see maybe a sharp move to the downside and then potentially we could bottom. I think that when you had earlier discussion, if they could go for 50 or only 25, I mean, if they will go aggressively for more cuts, then it means simply that there will be less cuts in upcoming months. So in such case, stock markets in general could maybe reverse much earlier than some think. So I think that this dollar index will reach potential reversals as this picture regarding further potential cuts will get a bit clearer. It really depends on
Where does that view change?
I mean, change to extremely bearish
No.
view. I mean,
Change that we bottomed.
that we
And this
already.
is even though it was three waves up, that we're putting in a higher low here. Where are you wrong about the dollar going to new lows?
I mean, we should see a move back above 100 pretty aggressively.
Okay.
Yeah, that would probably be
It's going to take that long, huh? That's the only way it proves
yes,
negates the count. Okay.
yes, because basically, if you take a look here, we are still, despite everything what happened so far this week, we are still trapped in this range.
Yeah.
And it's been what since early July. And as long we are in this still stuck in this summer range, despite the fact that we are in the mid of September already, we just cannot say that that move towards, let's say, 99 would be enough for me to call some bullish counts here. So
Okay.
I would rather stick with this higher degree downtrend. And as I said, maybe one more leg is missing. But we have other obviously currencies that are doing much better. For example, like Aussie. But before maybe I show you the intraday wave structure, let me just remind you that we are right at this trend line connected from 2021 highs. So maybe there will be some back and forth moves on the smaller time frame, but eventually I think that we could push through that line because if I look at the price action up here from that August lows, if we think that we are going to complete this rise, then firstly you need 5 waves up, and that's not the case yet. So I think that after some retracement that could easily happen in the next few trading sessions, I think that much more upside could be seen. So despite dollar index not going anywhere yet, I just think that commodity currencies are doing and looking much better if someone wants to prefer to look for potential.
Buddy, you didn't spend much time on the note and the yields. Do you have confidence that we're putting in a low here? Because the way you're talking about the dollar and what your count is on yields seem to not be in, coherence.
Yeah, maybe if we're, let's put it this way, if we are approaching the late stages on the US yields here of this triangle, and then maybe we see a reversal to the upside, it doesn't mean that we have to see tick by tick correlation here, because if that would be the case, then by today, dollar index would be already much lower, in my opinion. So I still think, and I'm looking this more as a correlations that could work or define the next cycle for the next, let's say, few weeks, few months. And it doesn't mean that everything has to bottom on the same day or
Right.
has to top that or at
But
the
you
same
wouldn't be
time.
you wouldn't be long notes right now with this happening,
Uh,
with the yields possibly. Oh, you got potentially a little bit more to the upside.
yes, a little
Okay.
bit more to the upside on treasuries, yes, but everything
Okay.
is still just, as I said, trapped in this summer range. So I'm just using as a notes and yields, just trying to define what may happen next based on the dollar cycles, rather than trying to put in some new short-term projections here on treasuries or yields.
Yeah, maybe the notes will be sell the fact on the ease next week. Yeah,
Possibly.
we'll see what happens with that. Anything else you want to cover?
Yeah.
Bitcoin?
Euro dollar, as I said, dollar index down, euro dollar still, in my opinion, could see even room for 119. Cable is looking pretty nice. We are testing the
Wow.
upper range here. It could be the neckline. It's been retested once here. I think that if we see a support and the price will retrace back to the CPI levels here, around 134.80, I think that this could be pretty nice support for the next rebound. I would assume that next week we could really start breaking and push prices higher. We definitely have a very clear wave pattern here that we already discussed last time. Maybe worth to keep an eye on dollar CAD. Earlier I showed Aussie dollar trend line. Here is the potential resistance line as well for dollar CAD. So maybe we'll see a reversal south here, and I think that this 78.6% was respected pretty nicely here this week.
Yeah.
And I'm just watching patiently if we see a bit of more weakness in the next few days and break this trend line, then I really think that weakness could resume. Dollar Mexican peso already breaking out of this triangle.
Yeah.
So this one is also looking bearish for going into the next week. What else?
How about gold? Yeah.
Yeah, gold, I think it's just trying to slow down a bit. Silver is just taking it over here. But gold silver ratio, if we take a look on gold silver ratio just for a second here. Gold silver ratio is, in my opinion, headed lower into wave 5. So silver could stay strong here, meaning that maybe it's a bit of time for gold to stay stuck in this consolidation. But if we see a drop, I think that 3580, 3560, this could be quite interesting support. I will keep an eye on something similar like we have seen back in the last 2 weeks of August. So if we see this kind of a price action, I think that then could be a new opportunity to join this trend. But chasing up here right now is definitely not something I would be looking for.
So your ultimate target is 3720, 3800, something like that?
Yes, around there, yes.
Yeah.
If we see a fourth wave a bit more complex that will unfold maybe in the next few trading days, then yes, that would be my objective. But there's also a chance that I'm wrong and that we are still going to see extensions higher for a wave 3 towards 3,700.
Okay.
But the next pullback, the solid one, is something that we should be watching for, I think.
Okay.
Let's think maybe Bitcoin, as you said, it filled this gap that we also looked what I think I covered it last week. I don't want to be too smart and say that we topped out or that we are going higher because there are different wave counts that I'm currently tracking. But I still think that this kind of a gap here has to be respected. And if risk today will maybe turn lower, I think that there is actually a chance that Bitcoin will pull towards lower prices from here. Let's not forget to mention that this wave count, it's pretty aggressive and dangerous. We have a very nice ending diagonal here, and this gap, right, that current recent levels could be very important resistance, I think.
Wow, that's 5 of 5, the whole thing? It could be the whole thing?
I mean, there are not the whole thing. Could be different applications, as you know, when it comes to the Elliott wave structures. But for me, the most important thing is that this lag from 2025 April lows could be coming to an end, and that we could face deeper correction. What kind of a correction or what kind of a drop will happen, that's yet to be discovered, and then I will try to maybe apply the more proper wave count at that time. But for now, to me, this suggests that we are pausing.
Okay. All right. Well, do you have any numbers at 103?
103?
Yeah. Nothing, huh? Okay. All right. Is that it?
Maybe some crosses like Euro Aussie, as I said, Australian dollar is looking very good. I think that Euro Aussie is just showing it pretty nicely here. We are breaking some key levels. I think that after rallies, this one could be very, very interesting on the short side.
Okay. And
So
that's Euro outperforming Aussie.
Aussie is looking for more strength. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, what a great rundown. S&P, you want to wrap it with that?
Yeah. S&P, as you said earlier, maybe throw over formation here. I think you mentioned
Yeah.
wedge formation. So
Yeah.
yes, as you said yourself, if we will fall back into this diagonal, then we could be looking for a top. But even slightly different wave count that applied here also shows that we could be running into some fib resistance levels, but that's still healthy uptrend. If we see a correction whenever this one shows up, I just still think that this trend will resume. So it's still an uptrend until it's not.
Okay. You have 7,500 at 1.618. Is that
Uh,
about 7,500 above it for 5?
yeah, yeah, that's an extension
72.
of this.
Okay.
Yes, that's an extension of this cycle, red wave cycle.
All right. Everyone thank Grega. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you for
He's
having.
a busy guy. So Blake, it's all yours, bro.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just sorry. Well, first of all, Greg, I want to say great call on the dollar. You were looking at the dollar as turning lower, and it really turned on a dime yesterday at the 618 and reversed. Now, whether we end up getting that follow through next week, I missed your analysis when you were talking about the dollar. Are you still here, by the way?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
here.
Where do you see the dollar going into next week? If you just don't mind saying again, if you're repeating.
Yeah, I think that dollar will see more weakness, but as I said, maybe on commodity currencies, I will be watching for potential retracements. I think that if we'll get some solid pullbacks, there could be an opportunity on commodity currencies versus the US dollar.
Got it. All right. All right. Very good. And I'm looking at the dollar, and Dale and I have been talking about this a lot, and I'm alongside with Ryan and Kman, that I personally I'm going to be looking for the dollar to move towards those lows, but I am looking to actually fade it. I am looking to actually reverse, and that's a trade that we've been discussing for a long time, as we're nearing, and I would actually argue we're on this long-term trend line support, or at least really very close. So you can, that's not what, there we go. This is the chart. So there's that long-term weekly trend line support, and it happens to be just around these lows. So, we could obviously overshoot and get past it, especially going into next week. But hell, I'm looking right now, and the dollar's actually picked up quite a bit of steam over the last hour or so. K-Man, is there anything that you're seeing, or is this more position squaring into the weekend?
Yeah, and I think a continuation of what we saw already this morning in Europe. It's selective. Well, now they're all following suit, even the Aussie and Kiwi for a bit. But yeah, as I said, market probably realizing that if it's 25, the US is still going to be a relative high yielder. But no, I think it's a bit of squaring. And also what I was saying on the flow show, sorry, I was really expecting that when we were over the combination of the jobs report and the inflation hump, that finally we would see the bigger players who really move markets and drive markets going back to school for good. But it's a bit of a lukewarm play right now. This is hardly long-term players involved, I think, because they would be
Oh,
driving stuff a lot
it
harder now.
yeah, it sounded better yesterday than it does today, right?
Yeah, and that still is somewhere telling me that we may continue, unfortunately, to trade those ranges for a while, and until the FOMC perhaps. But really, I think if we would have seen the bigger players part of it, we would have seen a bigger move. As simple as that.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, you look at the euro, we're really stuck in the wedge. I wouldn't be shorting down here. Not today,
Uh,
not on a Friday. I'd actually more if I was going to step in, to the market right now, I'd be more stepping in on the long side down here at 117 and just playing it back up to 117.30 this morning. I mean, that's how I'd play it personally if I was going to be stepping in. I don't think I'm going to
Yeah,
be doing
but
that on a Friday, but that's the way I would be looking at it. One of
yeah,
the big breakdowns
but
that
sorry,
go.
Blake. But the thing is, you're saying it. You would be stepping into buying it, but you would be looking for 117.30. You're not looking for 119, are you?
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I mean, that's a big difference that when we are stuck or when we are trading those kind of ranges, it's really I need to see really breaks now to really tell me that the longer term and the bigger players are back in the game because it just doesn't feel that they are there.
so this I'll give you guys a little bit of a preview of the week ahead video, because on the week ahead video I'm gonna discuss, plan on what I want to do going into next week, but I'll just illustrate it with you with the euro. I think the risk is that we push right above this resistance and then reverse. And I'm going to be playing this reversal more than anything. So I'll be looking to fade the euro up against some highs going into next week due to how I feel about the FOMC. But like I said, I'll formulate my whole plan and put it on the week ahead video here in just a couple hours. One of the big things that I think we all should be looking at is the dollar max. I
Ooh,
mean, yeah,
false
we are
breakdown maybe, huh?
maybe, but Dale, this, first of all, it's still very early in the day. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
we're pushed right back to 1850. It's there's a lot of time left before today's over. So before we get too excited about any intraday moves, this was a massive level of support. And I mean, you can see that the 1850 level has really contained us since the beginning of summer, or, right around the beginning of summer. And I'd been looking for a move down to 1820, like hoping. I was like, okay, if we're gonna base, I'm gonna get long. Tried to get long several times over the last month, and I've had mediocre success. Buying lows and selling it, as it rallies into resistance. I tried buying breakouts, that didn't work, but overall, I've had some relatively decent success trading it on the long side down here. But now that we've broken support, that's risk that we are going to, drop to this longer term 618 retracement. And that is where I've been hoping that we get down there, and I still am hoping. I'm very, very hopeful that we make a move down there. So we'll see. I mean, this is a big one. Kman, how are you reading this dollar mex here?
We're still turning around 1850. Yeah. Could end up being a fakey, but yeah,
Yeah.
I've been saying it all along. I think sooner or later, I think we go, and we're going to have a look at it. 1818 is the level to the downside, and um, we've seen, and I've again said it on flow shows, etc. We've seen a lot of effort made by Scheinbaum and Ebrard to stay on the US side of the whole equation, and now they are planning to slap 50% tariffs on Chinese imports as well, cars and car parts. That
Mm-hmm.
is again another sign that they want to stay on what they think is the right side of the whole spectrum. And investors is probably still liking it. And then there's a bit of carry left as well in the Mexican peso. So all of that together, unless we see a decisive turnaround in the dollar, is going to keep the mix one of the better bit currencies as well for the time being.
And
Hey,
that's. Oh, I'm sorry, Dale.
no, it's okay. I just wanted to ask Timothy, who's asking us, likes the way we cover all these different asset classes. I know HYG is junk bonds. Timothy, what's JNK? Is that junk too? If you're still here? Anyway, go ahead, Blake. Hillsfield type.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
they're
just.
both junk. They're both junk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the ETF there.
Okay.
One of the things about the dollar max, and it's been, my argument since Trump took office is, Mexico has a lot more to work with than Canada does. I mean, and Trump's been very, very explicit in saying we don't need Canada. And no offense to my Canadian friends that are listening in right now, because I need Canada. I need British Columbia. And I need Toronto. I love those cities. But as from a trade point of view and from Trump's point of view, he's like, we're fine without Canada. But Mexico is a different animal, being that Mexico is such a big manufacturer, and our largest trading partner from a manufacturing point of view. I've told everybody on this show for years, so much U.S. manufacturing has been moving over to Mexico from China, for the last almost better part of 10 years now. That Mexico, between cartels, pharmaceuticals. China has been trying to infiltrate Mexico from a manufacturing standpoint as well, to reroute into the U.S. That's one of the things that these Chinese EVs situation that U.S. is trying to work again. I mean, Mexico has a lot more angles to work with the U.S. and I think Kman's exactly right. Scheinbaum has really tried to stay on the right side of this, situation in her eyes, or, regarding U.S. and trade, where Canada has been more confrontational with Carney and previously Trudeau. So the outperformance of the Mexican peso it shouldn't be a secret to anybody right now why it's been performing well. So I agree with everything Kman had to say.
Hey, Blake, can you pull
Go
the
ahead.
VIX up for a second?
Absolutely. It's still that looking so low.
Something I've noticed, if you like zoom in a little bit,
Yeah, sure
is
thing. Get there.
you know, okay, so you see where we were in September? We were
September.
lower.
Oh,
Yeah.
previous September. Okay.
Yeah, so we're making higher lows. It's probably nothing. But
Oh,
we
right
well
here.
we yeah, we've melted up past what we had in August. That was an August low or September, and we're not making lower lows yet.
I,
So,
I agree.
but
I agree with what you're saying. Where the volatility is slightly rising here, and you can see my lower support zone is, hasn't been touched, and those are levels from post-COVID,
yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you're right, Dale. I mean,
Because we've tacked on plenty of S&P handles from those prior highs without the VIX taking out that low.
sure.
Just something I've noticed.
No,
But
I think it's a great observation. I see Steve is here. Steve, you've been mighty quiet. I don't know if you're mic'd up or not. Oh yeah, you are. Steve, how are you seeing things, since we've managed to go on a few extra minutes today? How are you seeing the world in through your eyes?
I, I've always thought myself of being a realist, but unfortunately nowadays that has to be confused with being a pessimist, because I think it's quite realistic that things have not been good, right? So yeah, I'm not optimistic about the economy, and I'm not optimistic about social issues as well, because we know very, very well how well connected they are to the economy.
yeah.
Sure. But does that make you necessarily a bear on equities? I mean, if you're bearish the economy and you're bearish social issues, and let's say you think inflation's going to be strong, I mean, natural hedge to strong inflation would be, just buy stocks. And if the stock market's really not affected by all these social issues, and we
That
think,
is the reason why the stock market has been behaving as good as it has.
yeah.
The reasons you're mentioning.
Yeah, so we could have a bad economy and a melt up in equities.
Well, I think we've had that for 2 years, Dale.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, there is a limitation, as you
right.
understand.
Yeah,
Equities have been well bid because of inflation and an extra reason. One of the main pillars of investing has been destroyed by manipulating, fixed income markets, government fixed income markets. And since fixed income markets in general are correlated with each other, once you touch one, you in essence affect the rest, right? Because everything is priced, let's say, upon treasuries, more or less. So that left equities being the only somewhat
in town.
viable pillar of investment.
Besides
And that, of
gold.
course, has created this amazing bid we've had. But if things go really south, the stock market will have to respond.
Are you
There's no
worried
alternative.
about geo stuff besides economic stuff, Steve, and social
If I'm worried
issues?
about what?
Geopolitical things, like things continue to escalate in Russia, Ukraine, and things could light up again in the Middle East. I talked to someone and they said geo doesn't matter anymore. The only reason it used to matter was because of oil prices. Do you believe that?
No, definitely that's not the correct assessment. Geopolitical matters do play a huge role, but not when things aren't extreme, right? So
Okay.
small issues have always been around, especially in the Middle East, since you indirectly referred to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, tensions in the Middle East are not going to be materially changing that. But
The trend.
if things
Yeah.
seriously
What you're saying
escalate,
is it's a 4,000-year trend, is what you're saying. Right?
it's been a
All right.
long-term trend, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Long
Hey,
term.
I'm sorry, guys. I hate to interrupt, but Ryan's not here, and probably Ryan, he's on a coaching session right now with one of our traders in our community. I just wanted to say that there are about $5 billion worth of options expiring in the euro at between 117.20 and 117. So it shouldn't be super surprising that we just slipped in the euro down to these levels ahead of these options expiring. Maybe that's what's driven us down here.
Yeah. So they
Once we,
could take all the call money away.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's easy money in a range.
It's a magnet, these strike prices. I think
Freaking magnet.
I'm so glad Ryan brought that into the mix of analysis because options are like relationships, Blake. 90% of them expire worthless.
And at the end of the day,
It's
100% of them do. At the
no,
very end of the day.
there's 10%. I found Forex Analytix. So there's a 10%.
No, I'm
So
just
there,
talking about when you die. When you die. I'm
that,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm being
Oh
morbid on
boy.
a Friday. Sorry, guys.
It is
Let me
actually
call
true.
it.
My head was
Let
in
me-
a different space.
Let me call
Totally
the
different space.
Undertaker.
It
Yeah.
is actually true that 85% of options expire worthless.
How about your relationships? What's your percentage?
I can't. My wife is not that far, Another time, another time.
But it's not 85. It's probably like 5% with
Mhm.
Anyway,
you.
I'm glad we got Steve's point of view today. It's always good to
It
have.
cheered me. Steve always cheers me up.
I know. Steve, I look forward to seeing you on the Morning Edge in about 25 minutes with our traders in the Forex Analytics.
Yeah, I will be there.
Yeah, take
Yeah,
another
well-
F.A.C.E, Steve. That's what I do.
What do you do? What did you say, Dale?
I take an X-ray and a depressant when you're worried about. Anyway, it was good to hear you. Great job, team, this week. Real good job.
Yeah,
Like
it was
usual.
really nice to shake things up with Peter Bookfar yesterday. I mean, we had him on, and then we
Yeah.
covered the CPI, and then we got to stick around a little bit longer and kind of manage through what we were trading yesterday. It was a nice change of pace, I would say.
Yeah, he appreciated us working with him on that. So
Yeah,
that was good.
that was great. Great job this week, Coach, and Kman, and I know Ryan's not here, but the flow show was really good this morning. I got up extra early for no reason whatsoever, and I ended
Yeah,
up,
me too, Blake. I was up at 3. I don't
you
know
know,
why.
when you have to pee and then you're like, oh, my alarm goes off in literally 30 minutes. I might as well just
Yeah.
stay awake. That was me this morning. So stupid.
All right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Steve,
Yeah.
good to hear your voice, and
Good to be
Grega,
here.
great to have you here too.
Yeah, Grega, thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
And
great call on
let
the dollar this
Thank
week.
you,
yeah.
guys.
And plus Grega was publishing Benzinga. So
Yeah, yeah.
we got famous people working with us here.
That's right. That's right. And look at Grega's analysis. He's still looking for lower dollar index. You can find his analysis right on
I
the
hate
Elliott Wave tab for all 30 instruments uploaded daily. So
Yeah, fade
Grega,
them at
great
your
stuff.
own peril. And you know what? For that matter, fade any of the guys here at Forex Analytics at your own peril. And we don't walk on water, but we're pretty good swimmers. Okay. So, and that's why you need to join and get familiar with what we do here with our platform, get in the chat room and stop messing around. These are historical moves that are happening in gold, in what could happen in oil, what could happen in the dollar. Lots of surprises. What could happen in crypto? There are people that aren't around anymore that wish they had these kind of markets to trade. Okay, so you want to trade them, get involved with people that you can learn from and have a great weekend. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Team, glad to be part of it.
Hallelujah, coach.
All right,
Have a great
guys.
weekend, everybody.
Yeah, Kay, you have a good one, and Grega have a good one. Steve and Blake, enjoy,
Thank you,
and
guys.
Thank you,
see you
sir.
guys. See you guys Monday for the rodeo. Adios. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. You're welcome.